This channel is supported by Truefire. Truefire is an online library.
Enough, you can get the Truefire All Access Pass for as cheap as they ever do it, the $99 thing, so just jump and do that if you're looking for...
Okay, so this was a bit of a surprise for me from Line 6. They brought out this cab when we were all talking about things like Stadium and stuff like that. They sort of, I think there was people at Line 6 that were surprised by this release, didn't know it was coming. So from my point of view, is that the best way to launch a product? I'm not sure, but obviously they got a lot on their plates anyway. But I did ask them, like, can I check out this? Because, well, a few things that I've been interested in recently. So my first thought was, isn't this just like a rebadged catalyst? But actually, now that I see it in person, some elements of this are actually significantly different. This is a sponsored video. But I've got a lot of experience with other, and even like the original Powercab. I've got more experience than when I first demoed that power cab, and I recognise now what I like in a cab. So this is the 1x12 version. I would say it's a bit heavier than some of the examples that I've tried, but it's still quite light. I think it's 14.5 kilos. It's got the handle of a power cab, USB MIDI in, voice and EQ. So that's for the enable voice and equalization, power and pin bypass voice and equalization, ground lift, XLR output. I think then there's also the speaker bit, and you can also run an IR on the XLR. So what's most important for me, and the thing that I found matters most to me, it's no longer about FRFR for me, and it's more about, you know, a powered speaker. I guess essentially we've been told for so long that what we needed was a FRFR. Maybe that's what you just believe is what everyone might need. But I found that actually what I'm looking for, I've dialed in my sounds at home with my JBL LSR 305 monitors, and I'm actually looking for just those things to translate to a thing where I can plug it in and just, so, you know, plug and play is like the goal for me. So let's turn it on for the first time. I'm going to turn off the speaker voice initially. EQ is all flat. I'm going to turn that volume down. We're not using the XLR IR, but that basically you can select from a few just by pressing the button. And here we go. So this is my Eric Lead preset, isn't it? So I'm quite familiar with how this sounds when I'm normally using it. And let's plug in. So we've got an XLR or jack combi input. Right, so instantly better for me than the power cab, because I'm not having to tweak things. I'll move this like a bit more central. So this is just a Royer 121. And then all out gain. Now, at some later stage, I will do a fairly thorough-ish comparison, if I can, of each of the units that I've got. Right, if I goose the gain on. Okay, and then how loud is this going to be? I'm now at like halfway volume. Right, that's loud enough to deafen me, so that's a good sign. This is with the HX Stomp output maxed, but this volume knob here is only up halfway, so I'm kind of happy with that. Now I need to check. I'm going to turn off the cab over here on my HX Stomp. So and maybe we'll just delete it altogether. So that's the Helix cab turned off, and then so I'm now running through the cabs. So if I turn, first of all, this is what it would have been like if I had my IR on. Okay, and now crisp. Jarvis. Jetson. Essex. Greenback. And vintage. All right. Now, does that sound a bit more natural than if I was to run an IR into it? Possibly. I might personally take the treble down. Now there is a switch on the back here where you can just turn off all of that. So that kind of flattens things, I think, right? Where is the switch gone? And then that doesn't use the you can just turn off all of the speaker part. And even just running straight into the speaker with no IR on. That might be my favourite way to run it. That's my IR. And then you're just running that as power amp in. Up the mids, take the treble down, maybe boost the bass. Change the cab. super powerful EQ. Here's a bassman. So more bass. I have to say, I wasn't expecting to necessarily use the actual onboard speaker part, but I am finding that does have some utility. If you've got your IRs, then it might be a better idea to leave that EQ roughly flat. So questions for me that I had that are now sort of answered. Is it just a catalyst rebadge? Not really. The cabinet has some similarities. The Tolex is different, and definitely the knobs and some of the functionality are different. The next question for me was, can you just plug into it and it sound pretty good with your, whether you had a Podgo or a HX Stomp like I'm using here, or an FM3 or whatever? I think yes, it does do that job really well. To me, easier than, you know, with the normal Powercab, where for me the only way that I felt like I got a tone that I was kind of happy with, given that I'm happy with my tones at home, was when I plugged it into it and put it in LF raw mode. I didn't actually find that I loved the speaker models in there, but with the tweaker removed, I do actually think once I turn off my IRs and just go straight into that with the speaker model engaged on there, I am enjoying that too. So that's a new piece of gear that I think is, yeah, I guess moving more towards like a powered speaker kind of approach, which I guess would have been really quite a common thing, like Tech 21 and people like that did that sort of thing, right? And it's totally a valid way of running this sort of rig, I think. It's not all about FRFR. I will at some stage compare anyway, but we're talking about this one in this video, so yeah, I think super interested to have this added into the mix. Is it going to be loud enough? I'm going to guess that yes. Half volume here, it's incredibly loud, and I think you get heard at a gig with this, essentially. And I think going to sound more like an open back sort of amp type situation than, you know, a normal Powercab for sure. So I like what they've done with the place. Cheers for stopping by.